Welcome to Proven and Probable. Today we're going to highlight an exploration and development stage company that is focused on copper in some of the top mining jurisdictions in the world. I'm speaking of none other than Granite Creek Copper. Before we begin, as always, I invite you to become the next subscriber to Proven and Probable. All you have to do is click the subscribe button, click the bell, and if you like our content, please give us a thumbs up. Now, on to today's interview. Joining us for a conversation is Tim Johnson, the CEO of Granite Creek Copper. Mr. Johnson, welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you very much, Maurice. It's lovely to be here. Beautiful day today.
I know you're delighted, as well as shareholders. A lot of moving pieces here, all going in the right direction for Granite Creek Copper. Let's get right into it, actually, if we may. Sir, Granite Creek is now exploring the combined land package at Carmacks and Carmacks North. How has the addition of the Carmacks project changed the company?
Well, I can go back to really the company's inception, and that was January of 2019. And so what's happened within 24 months, we've gone from what could have been considered an early stage exploration play to a resource company with significant resources, and we're working hard on developing a plan to aggressively grow those resources in the coming months.
Well, you've definitely moved the timeline in fast forward, absolutely, because this usually takes years, and the business acumen of the company has just moved the timeline so much faster. And again, as a shareholder, I applaud you for all the great work here. So we just had some drill results released a few weeks ago. Can you provide us with some context on those?
Well, what we'd been telling the market before we drilled, that once we combined the two properties, we were really going to focus on the sulfide potential at Carmacks, and then on the adjacent property, the Stu property, which we've now renamed Carmacks North, just both the sulfide and oxide potential. So our drill campaign really sort of proved up that scenario. It was a bit of a proof of concept for us. We drilled 127 meters of 0.85% equivalent at Carmacks, and that was primarily sulfide. So that really shows the sulfide potential, that not only some of it underlying the overlying oxide, but also some of it very, very near to surface. And then at the adjacent Carmacks North property, we intercepted some pretty high-grade material, up to 4.5% copper, over narrower widths, 4 meters, but we also hit a 0.95 over 25 meters, and that was mostly oxide. So we've been able in a very small program to show that we have the ability to grow both the oxide and sulfide resources, and that we've got some great targets that are being developed for the 2021 field season.
Another demonstration of the proof of concept here. If I may, share with us, what's the size of the Carmacks? Because many of us are familiar with this, formerly known as the Stu, the Carmacks North, but talk to us about the size of the Carmacks deposit.
Okay, so the measured and indicated resources, as developed by previous operators, we didn't drill these off, and this is from a 2017 43-101 report, is just under 24 million tons of 0.85% copper. And then it's got some good precious metal credits that go with it. And when you add the precious metal credits on a copper equivalent basis, we're looking at about 1.3% copper.
Let's look at some compare and contrast. How does the Granite Creek copper story compare with your peers right now as far as valuation?
Well, that's an interesting and very difficult question to answer. There isn't very many copper peers at the stage that we're at. That is a company with resources and looking to expand, and relatively high grade. I mean, if you go out there, you can find some large low grade deposits, in the hundreds of millions of tons. But something that's in and around a percent or better is very difficult to find. We see projects with similar tonnage, even there are a few of them out there. You'll get anywhere from 5 to 15, 16 cents per pound of contained copper, reflected in those companies' share prices. We're sitting right around 5 right now, so we think there's lots of room once the market recognizes our contained metal and we're able to add resources. We think there's lots of room for the share price to grow on that basis alone.
And you're not alone in that. The company just announced a financing. How did the market respond to that one, sir?
Well, the market responded very well. Within hours of announcing the financing, our book was almost completely full, and we look to expand that financing. But we're cautious as to dilution, and we don't really want to issue too many shares until we've had the opportunity to show that we can grow those resources and what the subsequent expansion would be.
Speaking of growth, how do you plan to grow the resource?
Well, we're currently planning between an 8 and 10,000 meter drill program for our 2021 field season, and we are going to be targeting probably about 80% of that drill program will be focused on resource expansion. So we've got a lot of actually what we consider low-hanging fruit in that the targets have been developed. They're near step-outs from some pretty high-grade historic drilling. And we've got all the data from the previous operators who left some undrilled targets as they were leaving the property.
When can investors expect to see news, and what's in store for 2021?
Well, again, it's resource expansion, resource expansion, resource expansion. That's going to be our primary focus as we move into the field season to do that. So you can look for announcements on what those programs might be coming up in the coming weeks. And then you can look for announcements of the drill program. And as we put those announcements out about what the drill program is going to look like, we'll be including figures that shows the size and scope of the deposit, the areas that it's open, and try to relay what some of our plans are going to be. And then our goal is either fourth quarter of this year or first quarter of next is to publish an updated resource on the back of those drilling results.
Now, you touched on this earlier, but let me ask you this, sir. The current resource consists largely of oxide material. How does that composition factor in versus the sulfide, and what percentage do you see as the ultimate resource being of each?
So currently, based on the 2017 preliminary economic assessment done by the previous operator, it's about 2/3 oxide, 1/3 sulfide. And that gives you a total contained about 440 million pounds of contained copper. We think that the underlying sulfide at Carmacks could be 2 to 3 times larger, and that's not including our adjacent Carmacks North property that we've added to the land package. So there's a lot of blue sky here. There is some really compelling targets on the Carmacks North that we do have to do some more work on before we're able to drill those. But meanwhile, at Carmacks proper, we have got a lot of sulfide potential that we can drill off. And that's going to be our focus primarily in this 2021 field season.
Given the different processing for oxide versus sulfide, what are the options or early plans there?
Well, we are exploring multiple paths to development. The previous operators, had contemplated about a 9-year mine life in the oxide only. At 2016, 2017 prices, that had a 4-year payback, so we really didn't see that as economic. So really the answer of development will be answered upon once we've completed growing those resources. So for instance, if we grew the oxide resources to the point where we had say a 15-year mine, it would make sense to execute on building that out. I should note that there's also a sulfide mill in the district owned by Minto Mines to the north of us, about 35 kilometers away. So there is a possible scenario where that might be utilized. I know they are working hard to get that running at full capacity and are exploring themselves at their own mine site. So whether there's any capacity there in the future, it's unknown. But the point is that there is an operating sulfide mill in the district. And I think that bodes well for future consolidation of the district if we can attract the type of developer who would want to see that put together.
Speaking of the Minto mine, there's some shared synergies potentially here, as you referenced just a second ago. But how about transportation and infrastructure there?
Yeah, I think when you look at the district as a whole, and we do at the Minto Copper District, I think you have to consider, what's the best path of development. Currently at Minto, they deliver their concentrate across the Yukon River by barge and ice road. So there's times when they can't deliver their concentrate, there's a possibility of building access down through our property that would exclude that barge and ice road. So, I think there is possible some synergies there. And I think more to the point is that our goal is to attract a larger copper producer to the belt. So I think when you look at the entire Minto Copper Belt as a whole, I think it's a very compelling place to be looking for further investment and further copper development.
Switching gears, sir, please provide us with an update on the capital structure for Granite Creek Copper.
We have currently 96 million shares issued and outstanding. It's 150 million on a fully diluted basis. We've got about 8 million warrants in the money that would bring in just over $1 million should those be exercised. Currently about 700,000 cash on hand. Financing should close fairly soon here to cash the company up for our 2021 field season.
In closing, sir, what keeps you up at night that we don't know about?
Just how we're gonna handle all the logistics of the aggressive program that we're gonna work on. We've got some great people on our team. It's an exciting time to be in the copper space, and we've got to roll up our sleeves and get the work done. But we're confident we can do it.
Last question: what did I forget to ask?
I think you covered the story very well. I invite listeners to our website at www.gcxcopper.com. Add our symbols to your watch lists and follow along, and hopefully we're going to have some good results for people to enjoy.
I'm looking forward to it, sir. Mr. Johnson, always a pleasure to speak with you. Wishing you and Granite Creek Copper the absolute best, sir.
All right, thank you very much.
Granite Creek Copper trades on the TSX.V symbol GCX and on the OTC symbol GCXXF. Granite Creek Copper is a sponsor of Proven and Probable, and we are proud shareholders for the virtues conveyed in today's message. Before you make your next bullion purchase, make sure you call me. I'm a licensed representative to buy and sell physical precious metals delivered directly to your residence in the form of gold, silver, platinum, palladium, and rhodium, and there is no minimum requirement for purchase. Also, we offer offshore depositories and precious metal IRAs. Give me a call at 855-505-1900. That number again is 855-505-1900, or you may email maurice@milesfranklin.com. Finally, please subscribe to Proven and Probable for mining insights and bullion sales. Subscription is free.
The information presented on Proven and Probable is provided for educational and informational purposes only, without any express or implied warranty of any kind, including warranties of accuracy, completeness, or fitness for any particular purpose. The information is not intended to be and does not constitute financial, investment, or trading advice, or any other advice. You should not make any financial, investment, or trading decision based on any of the information presented without first undertaking independent due diligence and consultation with a professional broker or competent financial advisor.